Hello from SecureASkelly. Today we are going to talk about how to install our product.
All right, if you order our full kit, you should receive 4 items. You get your guy wires here. These are galvanized aircraft cables with loops on each end. Those are your actual guy wires. You receive 8 stainless steel spring snap clips. 4 stakes. We're going to talk more about these stakes in a minute. We're working on some spiral stake options. I know those are pretty popular. These are 12-inch long straight stakes. And then your actual brackets. So these are for the 12-foot original Home Depot skeleton, and kind of the different variant, the head turner and different eye options all work for the kind of original 12-foot Home Depot skeleton. We'll talk about assembly of this here in just a minute. How the installation for those work. They just slide together, put your clips in there and sandwich it together. We also have a option for the Inferno variant. So these brackets work for the 12-foot Home Depot Pumpkinhead and Deadwood Inferno variants. You can they go together a little differently. We'll show you that here momentarily, but you can kind of see the outline of the waist. They go kind of on the waist like so. But let's talk about kind of the original skeleton for installation options. Like I said, one of the big benefits of these, you can go ahead and get your skeleton up like you like, where you want it, like you like it, and these slip together, kind of sandwich together, the holes overlap, and you clip it in place. You can also go ahead and put your spring snap clips in place like this and lock it together. And during assembly, when you get to this step, you can simply just slide it on like so and continue installing your skeleton, stand him up, and they're in place and ready to go that way. This is how I like to attach my spring snap clips. You do it this way, makes it a little easier when you get them up, but it really doesn't matter which way you put the clips. Just make sure they're installed all the way. For post-assembly, when you get your skeleton up, we're going to show you what that looks like here in a moment. You can kind of see the pelvis here and where that goes together. We'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But you just put your clips in there with your guy wires. When you install your stakes, you want to make sure that your stakes are angled towards the feet of the skeleton. You want kind of the point end in with this end that you're hammering on back at about a 45-degree angle. It's best to kind of mark your placement of where you're going to put it with this. Pound your stake in most of the way, and then attach your clip there like that. These are really nice for really hard ground. We live in Oklahoma. When I first put up my skeleton in September, the ground was like concrete. We hadn't had rain in a long time, and I had a lot of trouble even pounding these into ground that was like concrete. So spiral steel anchors in really hard soil, dry conditions are pretty tough. But now we've had like the wettest November on record, and the ground is very saturated. So what stake works best for you is going to be kind of dependent on your soil conditions and what you expect. But the key is just to check on them. Just check on them. This does not need to be bowstring tight. It just kind of needs to be snugged up. You don't need to really crank on it, or that puts undue pressure on the knees and framework of your skeleton. Just kind of snug it up. That'll really secure him, keep him stable. All right, if you're getting ready to install your SecureASkelly bracket after your skeleton is up, one quick tip is to go ahead and remove the stabilizer wire that comes with the skeleton. Do that temporarily. Make sure you remember to get that back on when you're done, but that kind of helps loosen up the joint where the bracket goes. All right, with your stabilizer wire disconnected, that makes this joint here where the SecureASkelly bracket fits in nice and loose. So you can install this with the stabilizer wire still in place. This is just a little bit of a tighter joint, a little tougher to do. With the stabilizer wire disconnected, you can put a little upward pressure on this joint and just slide this in like so. You're going to do the same from the other side here. This bracket's going to go together like this. It's going to overlap, and the 4 holes are going to align like so. With those 4 holes aligned, You're gonna take your spring snap clip with your guy wire and just attach it just like that. You can do that to all 4 corners. When you're done, make sure you remember to go back to the back, reattach your stabilizer wire that comes with the skeleton. That snugs this joint back up, and with your 4 guy wires in place, it's going to make this rock solid and really go a long way to securing your skelly. All right, for the Inferno variants, it's going to be very similar. The bracket looks like this. The 2 holes go in the back on both sides like that. These are just going to slip into each side. Again, it helps if, just like on the 12-foot original skeleton we just talked about, it helps if you disconnect the guy wire. It kind of loosens this joint up a little bit. It does go in the waist. We've had some folks get confused and try and put them down lower, kind of below the waist. These go on the actual waist here. The reason there's 2 holes, this fits pretty snug, so there's not a lot of metal exposed in the back. When you install them, on one side there'll be 1 hole exposed, and on the other side it'll be the other hole. So that's why there's 2 holes there. The big key on these is, in order to lock this together, the waist being so large, you have to cross the guy wires here. So you can see how these are crossed. That locks everything together on the front and the back. You need to cross your guy wires like this. That will make sure you get everything good and secure. If you've disconnected the stabilizer wire that comes with it, again, make sure you remember to reconnect that when you're done, and that will lock everything in place and keep your Inferno, both Pumpkinhead and Deadwood variants, both rock solid and secure. All right, a couple final thoughts here. I know there's a lot of discussion around the base and how best to secure the base. We actually don't utilize anything. We're obviously a little biased here at SecureASkelly and think guy wires are the way to go. A lot of people recommend, you know, sandbags or concrete bags or rocks or that sort of thing to help secure the base. We don't even use the stakes that come from Home Depot on these. I know there's you know, a lot of different options for that. We live in Oklahoma. It's very windy. We have some pretty challenging conditions here, and we've had great luck with guy wires only. I definitely recommend not utilizing just securing the base only. I think, again, guy wires are the way to go. Either DIY or give us a look at SecureASkelly and grab yourself a kit. Securing the base only, that just puts a lot of stress on the ankle joints. There's been a lot of examples of these things failing. You know, that's just a tremendous amount of stress on this one joint here. You can see it's not even welded all the way around where it connects to the base. A lot of examples, pictures and videos and things out there of failures at the base where at the connection at the ankles. So I do not recommend that. I think you can get away with it for a few years and not have any issues, but we've had great luck. Again, we're in some very challenging windy conditions here in Oklahoma. We're not in a place to guarantee a wind rating. I think, you know, if you've got major storms coming, it's always safest to lay your skeleton down. It's really easy with our product to just unclip and lay it down. That's always going to be your safest bet, but we have left ours up in some pretty challenging conditions, 50, 60, 70 mile an hour gusts and higher. Your weak point then becomes your arms. I think you want to make sure, if you leave yours up, to pull the arms off. If you've got some major wind conditions coming, those become the weak point, I think, and you will snap those arms off when you get to 40, 50 mile an hour wind conditions. So yeah, just the other thing I want to talk about is the guy wires themselves. I see a lot of discussions online about painting these black to make them even more invisible, but you want to make sure that they can become a significant trip hazard to yourself and to kids. So you want to make sure that they're protected, that you've got these things roped off or fenced off, that you have them flagged or otherwise indicated. Lighting them up helps a lot. But best thing to do is just keep them out of pathways of travel. Make sure kids aren't going to be in the area. You know, especially around Halloween, it's dark and kids are in masks and you can have issues there. The other thing I want to talk about is, you know, just wind loading in general. Wind is a funny thing when it's coming around trees and blowing on your skeleton. You know, it can funnel and really accelerate between houses and things like that and do some funny things. The other thing is, you know, when you start adding, if you add clothing, if you add hats, and especially if you put a Santa suit or, you know, lots of things like that. I see folks decorating their skeletons, you're really increasing the wind load up high. You're creating a sail kind of effect, and that's going to add tremendous stress. So just make sure you're well prepared, and keep that in mind if you go to dressing your skelly up. You definitely going to want some guy wires in place there, and I think you should be extra careful with higher wind conditions and making sure to take your skeleton down altogether if you've got clothing on them and wind conditions coming. So appreciate all of you. Give us a like. Check us out at www.SecureASkelly.com. Thanks.